Well, hello there, friends. How are you? My name's Host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People, and I'll be your guide on today's exploration of the topic of moon trees. Yes, moon trees. What are they? Why are they there? Why can't we cut them all down? Well, these are just a few of the questions that I will be answering tonight on moon trees, the exciting world of moon trees. So, if you're ready for some real moon tree action, I'm talking about some real exciting moon tree action, then you're at the right place. You are in the right location. This is Moon Tree Central. You're probably wondering, Eric, what is a moon tree? Is it a tree that lives on the moon? No, it's not. You see, back in the 60s, scientists were curious about whether or not shit would get messed up when it went into space. Like, hey, I wonder what happens if we send this dog into space. Of course, the dog dies. Well, let's see if we can keep it alive now. Okay, now like the Russians sent tortoises into space, and their primary reason, apparently, for sending tortoises into space was that they're easy to strap down. Now, something that's not nearly as sad to think about them sending into space is seeds. And on one of those 60s trips, they sent seeds to, I guess, the moon? I mean, I don't know if they were actually at the moon or not, or they just in space for 500 days. There were some seeds that were in space for 500 days. Or, I don't know, there's 500 seeds that were in space for I don't know how many days. A while, right? Then they brought the seeds back to Earth to see if they would still sprout and grow into normal trees. 500 of these seeds. And, in fact, they did sprout and grow into normal trees. Being in space didn't make them into weird space trees. So the fact that the seeds had been in space, or I guess on the moon, I would guess because they call them moon trees, but it did not cause them to be any different than regular trees. So in reality, these so-called moon trees are not even in any way, shape, or form distinct from any other tree, except the story that, well, the seed from which this tree grew has been to the moon, or at least to outer space. I don't know why they would take the seeds all the way to the moon. Like, whether or not the seeds have been to the moon or not is not really a meaningful criterion in whether or not the seeds have been negatively impacted by space travel. You don't have to go to the moon to get moon fever, is what I'm saying. Although it helps. So I'm live streaming today with what's known as the old software Aru. Maybe you might have heard of it as the old software Aru. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? It's really kind of challenging to say. It's quite likely that whatever conclusions I draw about slowness of gathering people or something, well, it could easily be explained by time of day and or already too many videos today, so no notifications, or it's hard to say. I do think that YouTube treats streaming via software a little bit differently than it treats webcam streaming, which makes some sense because they are different after all. Just as Adam and Eve were different from each other. They weren't the same. One of them had dangling parts. The other, no dangling parts, but they had a pocket, a body pocket, to put the dangling parts in. Hi, kitty. You're a wonderful kitty friend. I love you with my heart. I do. You're so special and good. Yes. So magnificent and true. I'm not lying this time. Look at my wonderful kitty. Oh, so just and true. Oh, I can't even see what the camera's seeing. I forgot. I'm poorly set up for showing you the cat. Even though she's so just and true. There's little disputing her justness or her truth. I think that's, only crazy people dispute the justice and truth of this kitty. Oh, yes. So magnificent and good. So just and true. So fair and fine and beautiful and special. That's what she is. She's fair, fine, beautiful, and special. She wants world peace when they ask her at the kitty pageants. The other day I asked the cat what her stance on nuclear war was. She says she's against it. So she's a good kitty, A lot of cats are big believers in nuclear war. Meow meow nuclear war? Meow. No, kitty. No nuclear war. Oh, beauty, I'm not talking to you. When I said no, kid, I wasn't talking to you. You're a beauty, though. That's for sure. So, I guess I'll play DJ a bit since nobody's here and I'm using software. Obviously, I can only play my own music, but I can do that.
人の死因にもいろいろある。They were once human too, free of fire like me and you. Then a light within ignites. If hell's on top and heaven's the bottom, return to the flame. If hell's on top and heaven's the bottom, return to the flame. If hell's on top and heaven's the bottom, return to the flame. If hell's on top and heaven's the bottom, return to the flame.
I didn't even realize that it was coming out so hot like that. The reason it was coming out hot like that is because I've got the audio here mono, but it was sending out a stereo channel. So that was kind of dumb of me, but anyway, regardless, how are ISFPs and INFPs different? INFPs have a lot more tolerance for interest in concern about words. For ISFPs, they get tired of words pretty quickly if they're being expected to process them meaningfully. I think there's a decent number of ISFPs who actually tune into my stuff occasionally, and I suspect that the reason for that is that they only have to pay attention when they feel like it. You know, it's like they're not being tested on it later or something. But INFPs are much more likely to feel comfortable understanding things in the world through words, whereas ISFPs are going to perpetually feel as though things aren't really properly understood in life through words. Does that answer your question well enough, Ron Alan Salon? Alan Salon. Or is it Alan Salon? Alan Salon. Sitting in a tree. Gallon palin around with me.
People everywhere gather up enemies, outraged at how they miss the sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities, ensuing heartache and misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck with such petty larceny. We all partition the victories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Julie shares our limits. Her limits are what she shares. Only Julie will do. Only Julie will do. Jerry shares 4 minutes. He just can't do things like they do. Julie always thought that she should have got to when she had the chance to buy. Julie soon forgot about soon and not, although she outrecalled. People everywhere gather up enemies, outraged at how they miss a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities, ensuing heartache and misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck in such petty larceny. We all partition the victories and call it destruction of the whole damn world.
Well, wasn't that a snappy little number? That song is called Destruction of the Whole Damn World. And it's about the destruction of the whole damn world. One of my songs that I recorded that I'm pretty happy with, like I think came out good. It's generally been well received. Now let's try another song by pushing play.
30,000 days, too many expectations, not even worth a damn. 30,000 nights to sleep off the intoxication, otherwise you won't escape the plan. I wasted half my days trying on another's way, but who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody knows the key? 'Cause I'm tired of doing it wrong. Want direction and have all along. Wait the station. Clarity's no good once your chance is gone. What I need to show is it so below my station. I'm tired of doing it wrong. I wasted half my days trying on others' ways. Who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody knows the key? 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. Doing it wrong. Oh, he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate blaming. You blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him, going to the gym, make yourself good enough again. Yeah, you guys both have lots invested. That's not a reason to stay around. Through the years, you've both been tested. Time to move up. Find higher ground. So he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate blaming. To blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him, going to the gym, make yourself good enough again. Be done with him. If Jesus was people but absent of sin, he must then have struggled with regular men and women, of course, when they too were present. Disciples all warily eyeing the lesson. People aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. The easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naive is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. If people were Jesus, they'd know what they think, and everyone's word would be true. And feelings once spoken would sit where they sink, and we'd all know just what to do. People aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. The easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naive is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. The one you thought you knew acts like you never have met. The life you made for two has faded into regret. one unshaken, we all have been shook. But being forsaken don't mean you're forsook. Though in the past you've been hung out to dry, we'll find them at last. We just have to try. People aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. The easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost.
Wonderful. So we just heard a few different wonderful things there in the Eric Radio Broadcast Hour. But Ghost Rider arrived and mentioned and made me want to return to the very exciting subject, of course, of moon trees. Moon trees, yes. Only 57 of 500 moon trees remain. How important is it for us to preserve our heritage of moon trees? Incredibly important. And yet, tragically, barely a tenth of the original 500 moon trees are accounted for. How are we as a species not enrobed in shame, given our failure to adequately attend to and take good care of our moon trees? They've never been to the moon. It's a lie. The name is a lie. They're space trees. They're not even space trees. They were space seeds that then they planted here on Earth. And they're called moon trees. Talk about false advertising. Those aren't moon trees. That's not, when someone says moon tree, it comes with a certain amount of expectation. Like, that the tree is either on the moon, or has been on the moon, or originated from the moon, or is otherwise more strongly moonly related than the actual moon trees. So I want to complain. Who do you complain if you have a complaint about the moon trees? I need to hire Gerald's firm to change the name of moon trees. Oh, you think of an ephemeral white tree with a lot of moonlight glow in the dark. Well, that's one wrong interpretation of moon trees. Ghost Rider, you're wrong in your interpretation, okay? The correct interpretation is to assume they live on the moon. That's the correct wrong interpretation. Get it right next time. Get being wrong right next time. Otherwise, you're just double wrong. It's almost worse than being right. You should be wrong in this instance because naturally, the most natural. Maybe this is the natural amount of death that happens with plants. Maybe most die. Oh, I don't think there was any problem with the trees at all. I just think that, like a lot of trees, probably the majority of them got cut down by people who had them on their property for one reason or another. Because it's not like they were reserved for public use, I don't think. They were it just said they were distributed around the United States. I don't even know how you would go about it having gotten a moon tree seed, but even if they were put in public spaces like city parks and stuff, well, whether or not the city ends up retaining your moon tree is up to the city. I mean, they may decide they want to put a slide there for the kids or something, and then there goes your moon tree. I don't think that the low amount of moon trees left has anything to do with the fact that the seeds were in space. Because, look, I mean, it's not like trees get cancer, right? So, you would think that if it were some sort of epigenetic change at the seed level, that it wouldn't just cause them to not live as long as they otherwise would have, but rather that it would cause them to display some other kind of obvious deviance or weakness, or just sort of a general poor constitution or something. Because I mean, what trees do get diseases and stuff, but um, they don't get what I would normally consider to be space diseases, like radiation poisoning, um, death by sudden exposure to the cold vacuum of space, being crushed to death by moon rocks. You know, any of the normal ways that you die from space. Um, this is annoying. I can't believe this happened. Pretty durable thing, really. I can't believe it took as long as it did. My thing here is floppy now. My knife. That's kind of sad. It just goes round and around. Okay, so I'm going to play the song I first played now again, because the first time I played it, I had the levels too hot because I hadn't adjusted for the fact that it's a stereo channel going into a mono broadcast. This is mono, by the way. This is like your AM broadcast. So I hope you're all enjoying, all two or one of you, if not both or one of you has left already. You get to enjoy this and pretend you're back in the olden days when people just had AM radio and listened to everything in mono. Back when before stereo. Yeah, I'm sure that's why. It's okay. It's also why I'm playing songs. I figured I probably used up my notifications. I don't really quite feel like going to sleep. I ran out of Fire Force episodes. There was only 2 seasons of it. I was depressed when I realized that. And so I just thought, oh, I'll just live stream with the software so I can just sort of DJ, play some songs, then stop chat a little bit, play a couple songs, stop chat a little bit, you know. Audio is a lot better, obviously, this way than running the audio out from the Mia. I mean, it's a lot better this way capturing the audio out than it is capturing the sound of the audio with the microphone. Wolf's Rain? Okay. Thank you for the tip. I'm looking for a new one right now. I'm kind of like fiddling around with some ones that I'm not absolutely captivated with, like you know, less, I guess, like 7 or 8 on a scale of 10 kind of animes. And it's a little bit depressing after having 10 for a while. You know, like I really liked Fire Force. It got better continually too. So I have to give that a 10 out of 10. And I will pick up. What's it about? Okay, so. Well, it's the story of the post-cataclysm. The cataclysm was an event 250 years ago in which basically all the volcanoes on Earth all erupted simultaneously. And people in this future have like superpowers that link to fire. And depending on when they were born after the cataclysm, they've got, or was actually, anyway, the one place that's still standing on Earth is the Tokyo Empire, and it's powered by a everlasting source of free energy called Amaterasu. And the problem is, just as happened during the Cataclysm, ever since the Cataclysm, people throughout the world spontaneously combust, and then they turn into these infernals, which are these burning demon guys. And so the Fire Force is in charge. The Special Fire Force is in charge of putting infernals to rest. So they're linked with this church that's basically like Catholic in its rituals and look, but called the Holy Church of Seoul, and is a sun worshiping church. And anyway, it's kind of complicated, but the bad guys are trying to bring about another cataclysm to finish it off for good this time. That the last cataclysm was incomplete because Tokyo survived. Yeah, it's really good. And the thing is, I don't know if I went into it with low expectations or whatever. The first couple of episodes, I was just like, yeah, this is kind of good. This is pretty good. And it snuck up on me, and I realized well before the second season, like, I am really just delighted by this television program. It is so wonderful. It's for adults, but it's not gratuitously adult. So, in other words, it's PG-13, basically, but people get killed and stuff in it, and people die, and the kids' cartoons, nobody ever dies in them. So, I won't spoil. I'll check out Wolf's Rain. Ergo Proxy, huh? Okay, we'll check out Wolf's Rain first. So I will play now the song that I made about Fire Force because I was so enthusiastic about it. Its lyrics are relevant to the show and about the show, kind of. Well, not just kind of. They are, definitely, but it doesn't have that many lyrics in it.
人の死因にもいろいろある。They were once human too, free of fire like me and you. Then a light within ignites. If hell's on top and heaven's the bottom, return to the flame. If hell's on top and heaven's the bottom, return to the flame. If hell's on top and heaven's the bottom, return to the flame. If hell's on top and heaven's the bottom, return to the flame.
Yeah, I think that's probably ready. That song. I've done a bunch of mixes and stuff of it. Sounds like Naruto. Next up, I'm going to play this song, which features Spacey on vocals and this girl, what's her name, dancing. I forget what I totally have I cannot remember what this girl's name was, but I interacted with her for all of 1 week, in which I typed her, and she indicated she wanted to dance in a music video for me, and she did so, and I made the video, and then I never talked to her again. So that was like a weird interaction, kind of. But she looks younger than she is. She's in her 20s, mid-20s. So just for your reference, because some people have said it's an awfully young-looking girl you got dancing in your video. Or, well, I mean, she's a young lady. She asked to dance one of my music videos, and this is what she gave me. I didn't ask for anything specific. I didn't say, like, please dance like meow or do meow or anything. So I like it. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever made, because I think, man, I must be really cool to have attractive young women dancing in my music videos. Alright, here we go.
Got a story about 10 years old. It's a song for an open road, and such a thing must always do its job. She married up Jeff, turned 19, 4 years in and 3 kids weaned. Weary now and questioning the past. Agency out, paces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Doug at 20 found bourbon fun, likewise Doug at 21, and so forth well up into middle age. What he once thought would set him free became his whole identity. Now Doug's about another drunken rage. Agency out, paces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Everybody's panicked about the kids, lock them up with extra Dexedrine and mathematics to promote success, or to impose more unjust duress. Agency out, paces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Without consent, it's really just oppression by parasites surviving while they feed their fear of dying. Yes, they feed upon the futures of the young.
Can you have sex?
So Barry was kind of thinking, detectives in the parks. The Barry was kind of thinking, detectives in the parks. Once there was a girl named Jenny Sue, a teenage girl a lot like you. She lived in Florida, played some softball prematurely, had her last call. The day was clear and the sky was blue, so you don't need to fear what killed Jenny Sue, cause she came to the plate and she swung the bat and everybody heard a great big crack. Thunder. Right, dark. When sight returned to their eyes, they could only see a pair of charcoal thighs. Finney's mom was shocked, of course, and sad. In fact, her life seemed mostly bad. She had loved her kid and kept her safe, and then all at once the kid had met her fate. And Mom was outraged. Mom was mad. Mom sought help from her brother Brad.
Assembly swine, one named, eyes begin to shine.
Is someone to blame? Very worst kind of thinking.
To lock me inside,
The very worst kind of thinking.
keeping me from danger.
Detectives in the
Struck
park.
by lightning on the Ranger.
Very worst kind of thinking. Detectives in the parks. The very worst kind of thinking.
Detective on type.
Detectives in the parks.
You can do that.
God damn it, we were promised a plague. Bodies in the street. So we had to flatten the curve. Not overburden healthcare, sir. But you see, it's been underburdened. Gee, cause this COVID thing's been so exaggerated. We have been lied to, fooled, misguided, directed to the wrong side. Your cherry picking art is not gonna work. You don't know your stats, your data gathering methodologies are crap. Listen here, if you only test the sickest, fuck you think is gonna be the trick? Stupid and scared. COVID-19 destroy everything for the impression you bring. Stupid and scared. COVID-19 destroy everything for the impression you bring. Stupid and scared, scared and dumb. We swallow the gum. And stupid and scared. COVID-19 destroy everything for the impression you bring. Stupid and scared. COVID-19 destroy everything for the impression you bring.
That's every musician's dream is to have somebody tell them it sounds like flies singing while eating on a carcass. I see. Hmm. I remember I made myself a cup of coffee not long ago, but it was a little too hot to drink, so I set it down over there. I bet it's cooled enough now. Let's try it. Let's give it a try. Absolutely delightful. You know, I just want to say that friends, viewers, countrymen, you have a lot in common with this cup of coffee. What am I saying? I'm saying that you are absolutely delightful. That's right. As you can see, I'm sitting in front of this big rock here. Why? Why do I sit here in front of this big rock? Because nature's beauty matters. I don't want to be cooped up inside somewhere in a little room with the heater on, all tucked away in my cage of civilization. I like to be out here in nature with this big rock behind me. Well, Bobby, son, I've been sitting by rocks, having good talks, knitting some socks, and hunting some fox. Having bagels with locks, building some clocks, and enjoying chocks and chalks of flocks of cocks. I live chocks and chalks of flocks of cocks. That does rock. Thank you, Bobby Son, for noting that rocks. It does. So right now, I'm preaching the gospel of nature. How important it is. Look, you guys, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, right now you nerds are sitting somewhere in front of a computer doing God knows what with your twiddly bits, right? Where am I? I'm here, outside, embracing nature's beauty. You should be more like me. I want to get a t-shirt that says that. You should be more like me. Isn't that a funny idea for a t-shirt? Well, you know, Ghost Rider, that's no excuse. I live in the city too, and yet I still manage to be outdoors here in front of this big rock. You're sick with a tummy ache, so you can't judge. You think that's a tummy ache? I'll show you a tummy ache, you. Okay, so this is a half talking stream, half DJing stream. So I am going to play another song now on the old musical adventure called Tonight, called 57 Moon Trees. Only 57 moon trees remain. For the love of humanity, won't somebody please save the moon trees?
Out of rock, rock and roll. Bring around those heavy chords. Show me how to be so hard. Circa 1984, gotta rock. You are so hot, I don't know what I thought. Listening to that jazz and country shot. When I should know you go. Tonight, gotta rock. After all your talk to the very rockin' it. Gotta rock, I roll. Roll your pancakes on my junk. Oh, rock your uncle up too much wine. Oh, rock those pancakes for your lunch. And oh, roll up in front of you in line. I'm the guy to rock. Like a rockin' block, a rockin' block. Separate the Lord to rock a lock. I know so few who do to rock. I knows that you do not rock. So spot this rockin' every dock. After all your talking to the very rockin' it. Gotta rock, I roll all night. I rock all day. Feel yourself like every day. Have your brunch, I'll interrupt my rock and roll. Blow your mind. I rock your mimosas like Dave's mine. I roll your pancakes on my junk. I'm gonna pop for your lunch.
God of rock, a rockin' shock, a rockin' flock of rockin' blocks. I pray the Lord to rock a lot.
I am the god of rock.
Just rock and every talk to. After all your talking to the rockin' it. Gotta rock, gotta rock, gotta rock, gotta rock, gotta rock, gotta rock.
Oh, wonderful, oh, wonderful. Bobby, son, I too find that my bosom is filled with hope regarding the wellness of your recently concluded sleep. Please, please put to rest my worries. Reassure me, and Ghost Rider obviously, who's equally concerned, that you did indeed sleep well. I'll die if I can't learn the truth of the matter with your confirmation or denial thereof. Meanwhile, I'll pull this bong rip while I'm waiting for your answer. See, you're taking it seriously. I'm glad you're not rushing the answer. That's good, because it's an important question. Oh, God, you were sleeping like a log. I'm going to assume that's good. I'm assuming you're talking about the kind of log that's made out of wood, which sleeps well, rather than the kind of log that keeps track of people's movements, which sleeps poorly. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you mean the poor sleeping movement keep track of log, then roll down hills. Is that your suggestion for people to come to you and say complain of insomnia? Roll down hills. That's gonna cure my insomnia? For sure. Have you ever tried it? You just gotta roll down a hill. If you roll down a hill and that night you still can't sleep, it just means the next day you need to roll down a bigger hill. And just keep doing that until finally it works. If you roll down a big enough hill, it will cure your insomnia. Okay, well, Ghost Rider, we're going to put a helmet on you, okay, when you go hill rolling. Nobody should hill roll without a helmet. Really, you should hill roll in a hill rolling tube, which is like a big PVC tube, okay? Hill Rolling Tubes Incorporated is one of my new business ideas. They're basically big pieces of PVC tubing, and you put somebody inside of it, and you put some padding and stuff around them, and then you have kind of this screen mesh thing over the ends of the PVC tube, so that whatever's inside of it, while rolling down the hill, can't fly out either end of it, you see. But it's not totally capped, because you don't want to suffocate the person inside of it. So it has little holes that you can breathe through. Right. Hole rolling, hill rolling tube is not a very good name for the business, though. How about roll down the hills! Exclamation point. What do you think about that as a name for a business? What we do is we sell hill rolling tubes, not hole rolling. Hole rolling is very difficult. Hole rolling is as difficult as Delilah's ideal onion ring recipe, when she said she'd like to eat onion rings just without any onion in the middle of them. I said, well, what do you make the rings out of? Because the reason an onion ring is round is because it's made out of a circle of onion. I don't think you knew how onion rings were made exactly. Ideally, I'd like an onion ring, but with no onion in it. You could take the onion out of it afterwards, but unless it were, if it were super sturdily fried, you might be able to peel off an outer layer of coating and take the onion out, but probably just fall apart. Yeah, is that like an advanced intimate move? Hole rolling. I mean, the problem is, what do you make it into a ring with, though? When I asked Delilah the question, I believe her answer was, just use a circle. Well, I mean, what kind of circle? Oh, yeah, she's funny. I like her a lot. She's a good daughter. She's an awfully good daughter, you know. She's really... She makes, parenting very rewarding. Which is to say, it requires little of me. And we understand each other. Maybe you could make onion flavored juice and fry that. See, the thing is, Alex Rodriguez, she wants to remove the onion from the onion ring equation entirely. And she doesn't want to replace it with anything. That's where the physics challenge comes in. How do you retain the ring quality of the onion ring without any ring to bread? You see, you could find something else to onion ring in the middle. Maybe what you should do is you get a circle. Now, calamari is disgusting. Bobby said, here's a good idea. You get a circle of ice and you bread that and you deep fry it. And then the middle part of the onion ring will melt away. There's an urban legend that says most calamari that you get at restaurants is actually pig anus. But it's not true. But I bet it'll make you think next time you order calamari. One thing you might think is, now that I know this is pork, I'm potentially more likely to eat it. I don't like calamari. It's just, it's very rubbery, you know? It's not what I want my food to chew like. Right. You got a good point there, Ghost Rider. But I guess the theory is they kill so many pigs for reasons that are not, are not anus related. So, in other words, in virtually every other instance where a pig or a hog is killed, they probably don't have the anus expressly set aside for some other purpose. It's not like, we use the belly fat here for make the bacon. This is the haunches. We're going to use the hams. Of course, you know, Bristol Farms put in a large order for the anuses. As always, a lot of call for that on the supermarket shelf. Mom, look at this great deal on pig anuses. Whoa! Let's get those. You think it goes into Slim Jims and hot dogs? Well, I wouldn't doubt that it goes into Slim Jims. Because we already know that Slim Jims make you extremely macho. And we already know that pig anuses make you extremely macho. Ergo, Slim Jims must have pig anuses in them. It's perfectly defensible logic. Are you open-minded enough to do an ASMR mukbang, is the question of the minute. Of course I am. Of course I am. I'll do it right now, okay? We're going to start with a liquid, okay? Now it's time for me to eat something very close to the mic. Convenience store mukbang. Convenience store mukbang is a good band name, I think. Convenience store mukbang. Well, I'm just saying, look, someone's buying all those anuses. Assuming the anuses are selling, someone's buying them. Because normally when you go to purchase a part of a pig, you know what part you want. Or you choose from the available cuts they present you, right? Okay, well, maybe they do go into pet food. Or maybe restaurants buy them and sell them as calamari. That's what the urban legend says. Well, that's what they use the snouts and the ears for. They reserve the anuses for the robust marketplace of restaurants who want to serve calamari. They can get a higher price selling it as fake calamari than they can selling it as dog food protein. Snouts and ears. Snouts and ears is a terrible name for a breakfast cereal. Wouldn't you agree? Gamey snouts and ears. Breakfast cereal. What is it, you'll ask yourself? They sort of like reddish brown chunks of something. You're not really sure what it is. It tastes kind of gamey. Well, that's what you should expect when you eat gamey snouts and gamey snouts and what? What are those things called? It turns your milk brown, yeah. It turns your milk a dark reddish brown. Snouts and ears. Mom, can we get another box of gamey snouts and ears brand breakfast cereal? Ronnie, I do not understand why you like that stuff. It tastes like rancid meat. It's an acquired taste. I love it. Well, okay. It does say on the box you get 400% your required daily allowance of protein. And they do the investigation on the factory. Oh, it's not pretty. The documentary they made on before they shut down the factory of the manufacturer of gamey snouts and ears brand breakfast cereal. Oof. It really turned me off of breakfast cereal for quite a while, actually. Okay, let's play a little bit more music now.
Too much noise in the data stream. Loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. Frustrations mean mistakes are made until it seems everybody's throwing shade. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well think that from tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday is not the sort of thing that one can borrow. No one willing still to lend a day. Your uncertainty's implicit, just like an unexpected visit from a bunch of men all dressed in blue suits. I won't be just another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. Well, there's a herd of cattle and a flock of birds. School up, fishes, it's a spew of words. Campaign of battles, a collection of churns. 'Cause farmers milk chattel for a cup's worth of curds. And a lip flap of tattlers telling on burn for disrupting the arrangement of a blossom of ferns. Confers a shameful burden that burn deserves, or so say the tattlers telling on burn. Bats are colonial, bees are swarmy. A quiver's worth of cobra res is making me horny. Got a cat named Capio and a dog named Ferd. Cassiopeia is the name of my bird. There's no clouder for my cat. Ferd has no pack. Got no grip of badgers, 'cause badgers attack. And the same goes for weasels, which come in a sack. But my Cassie's in a murder and they're all in black. Nobody's coming alone today. Nobody's alone. All of the creatures gather up their crews. Gather their crews. You lions, your pride, exaltation, a doves, a downfall, a slides, and one pair of gloves. There's a pot of whales, bristle grace, box of nails, swath of lace, nest of jays, frown of fails, can of mace, town of jails, whole crash of rhinos, and a knot of toads. Porcupines form a prickle crowd in the roads, drive a drove of pigs, and yoke a team of oxen. Save a smack of jellyfish caught up in pots. Nobody's coming alone today. Nobody's alone. All of the creatures gather up their crews. Gather their crews. Everybody's gonna have a friend. Nobody's coming alone today. Nobody's alone. All of the creatures gather up their crews. Gather their crews. Nobody's coming alone today. Nobody's alone. All of the creatures gather up their crews. Gather their crews. I'd just been sad. I gave up long ago. Was sometimes mad, but bad was all I'd ever know. Since sad was all I'd been, I'd only mope and pout until I met a man named Ken who showed me how to whisper shout. I'm rich, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the best. I'm rich, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the best. I'd just been sad, I gave up long ago. Was sometimes mad, but bad was all I'd ever known. Since sad was all I'd been, I'd only mope and pout until I met a man named Ken who showed me how to whisper shout. I'm rich, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the best. I'm rich, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the best. I'm rich, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the best. I'm rich. I'd just been sad, I gave up long ago. I'm the greatest. Was sometimes mad, but bad was all I'd ever known. I'm the greatest. Since sad was all I'd been, I'd only mope and pout. I'm
Still, I met a man named Ken who showed me how to whisper shout.
I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. I'm rich. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. What's the matter with Chad?
Is he terribly bad?
Is he very like this?
Who's a terrible man?
Is he sort of like Jill?
Who can't pay her bill?
Or rather like Jack?
Too stuck on the facts?
And what about Sue?
Will she know what to do? If they bring attitude, does she show ingenuity?
He talks about you
Whenever we go walking,
What's the matter with Bryn?
she's been living in sin.
She's been hanging with Jim.
He's looking terribly thin.
What's the deal with Frank?
Stealing fish from my tank.
He's colluding with you.
And they're talking to Lou.
What's wrong with the ladies?
What's the matter with men? From the feelings of Katie to the coldness of Sven.
He talks about you
Whenever we go walking, paths that lead to lesser days,
paths that lead to lesser days.
still spill from the overwater.
Still out the overwater
And
path.
whoever's left, that's still okay. Just add the sails to the mast,
Are you angry at Ken?
or Neville again.
Don't bother with Kev.
He's practically dead.
Just focus on Bert.
He's medium hurt.
What's a quandary for
Did
Liz?
she fail the quiz?
And what about you?
Will she know what to do? If they bring attitude, will she show ingenuity? She talks about you whenever we go walking. Paths that lead to lesser days,
Paths that lead to lesser days.
still spill from the overwater.
Still out the overwater
And
path.
whoever's left, that's still okay. Just add the sails to the mast. Each of us have much and gravely sinned. Throw up the hands, stiffen the chin. Catastrophe looms heavy overhead again.
Time's gone, will never be again. Okay, that was
Living on a time
Oops.
frame I will never know. Alien.
that was a wonderful, wonderful, fun run of a rumba that none of us will ever forget for the rest of our lives. Amen. Now, I wanted to note that I think on the box of and in the commercials for Gamey Snaps and Ears brand breakfast cereal, it should say, turns your milk from white to greasy. Fun adventure for the children. They like that. Boy, I'm getting a little bit sleepy, but it's always a toss-up as to whether I want to go to bed or not. You know, I feel sleepy, but I could also find myself tossing and turning, like Possum McBurnin, who was famous for doing that. It was kind of odd because his name was Possum McBurnin. It was really unfortunate that his main problem in life was not just insomnia, but being notable for doing so much tossing and turning. Yeah, you'd really rather have a problem like a limp or something. If you didn't possum McBurnin. But unfortunately, he was he was an insomniac, so he was always tossing and turning. And people would say to him, "Oh, Possum McBurnin, you're always tossing and turning." He'd say, "Damn my rhymable name." I'm in the mood for telling a bedtime story, I think. Before I close out this here live stream. Oh, my finger slipped. Good old tossing and turning, Possum McBurnin. What kind of a name is McBurnin? You might wonder. Well, it's Scottish. It's Dutch, Scotch, Irish, Albanian, partially Albanian, of course. Most things these days are at least partially Albanian. They've claimed to everything from hats to other hats. ESFJ. Did I get it right? As right as rain. As right as rainfall on a train. Which is to say, extremely right. When there's rainfall on my train, then you know I'm feeling lame, and that's okay. Okay, time for a bedtime story. One of the best things that we as a people, by which I mean the human peoples of the world, minus, of course, Colombians. They're excluded arbitrarily. But why, they say, but in Spanish, they say, pero por qué? I say, well, somebody had to be arbitrarily excluded, and I said to myself, why not the Colombians? Well, senor, they say, that is an arbitrary reason indeed. I know, that's what I'm saying. I tell them. Next time, maybe listen harder. Instead of being such a stereotypical Colombian, I'll tell them. This is a relaxing bedtime sharing event. It's a story, but it's more than a story. It's an allegory. It's a way of understanding humanity. This lone beacon of 7 billion candles against a darkness as large as the universe itself. An uncaring void that strikes us down as though mere insects beneath its heavy-handed and ancient boot. But that's just the preface that was written by somebody else for this story. My alter ego. Corlington Fancy Words. But this story is not about that stuff. This story is about some important characters that you're going to know and love when you hear about them. Okay, you're going to care about these characters. because they're gonna be the kind of plucky heroes that you want to cheer for. So, first of all, there's Greg. Greg is 22 and a fairly handsome young man. He lives in the Twin Cities area, the St. Paul, Minneapolis greater metropolitan area. He's a Minnesotan, and he talks like this a little bit. People say, "Why do you talk like that so much, Greg?" And he says, "I don't know. I just got to talk a little bit like this." I said, "Is that really a Minnesotan accent?" And he'd tell people, "Oh, it's pretty Minnesotan, I think. If it's not, it's how I talk anyway. I don't know. I've always talked like this." So people just came to understand that's just how Greg talked, and some people had an opinion as to whether it was actually a Minnesotan accent or not. But by and large, people didn't express that opinion, so I'm unable to share, even though I'm an omniscient narrator. I'm unable to share with you what their opinion about that was. Regardless, so Greg, he lived in a condominium with his mother. He was in his early 20s, and his father had died when he was quite young, and his mother was a registered nurse. She worked at the local hospital there called St. Paul's Get Well Now Extravaganza Clinic, and she had been a hard-working woman her whole life, and she had saved up all her money for Greg to go to college, but now here it was. Greg was 21. He had taken his gap year, and he had taken a work year, and he still wasn't looking like he was going to go to college. And she said, "Greg, listen, I'm your aging mother, Margaret, and I have this college fund, and you did so well in your testings. The standardized tests I gave you at school, you always came back in the 98th, 99th percentile. You're so bright. You have so much potential. Why won't you apply to college?" And Greg said, "I will, Mom. I will. I'll do it pretty soon, okay?" And Margaret, the mother, says, "But Greg, you told me that so many times before and you never followed through." And Greg says, "Okay, all right. Can you just not bug me right now? I'm looking at this thing." Says, "Well, what are you looking at?" "This Wikipedia stuff." "What are you researching this time?" "Just don't worry about it." "What is it?" I said, "Don't worry about it." "What is it?" "It's this thing on state change, okay?" "I knew it! You're studying for no purpose." "I'm not studying, I'm just reading something interesting." "No, you're studying. Nobody reads shit on state change dynamics for fun. And if you're gonna do that, then you might as well do it at school where you get rewarded." "Well, how do I get rewarded anyway? What good is it?" "They give you a grade. They give you an A. That's your reward." "But what good is that anyway?" "Well, then if you get enough of them, you get a piece of paper at the end that says, 'You are officially smart.'" So, "Well, can I have a shortcut of some kind?" "No, that's the only way to be smart." "God, fine. I'll apply tomorrow." Well, sure enough, the next day comes and goes. Mom goes back to Greg's room. She knocks on the door and he says, "Not right now, Mom, I'm fapping." And she says, "Well, stop it right now, okay? I've told you before. I was reading something the other day that suggests that maybe you should retain your semen." And you're like, "Mom, shut up! Don't tell me that! That's so gross hearing from you." "Well, you're the one who told me you were fapping in there, because I don't want you to come in right now. So you're not even really fapping? Just stay out. Well, Mom barges in. You aren't fapping! Don't look! He tries to cover up the screen. What are you reading about? Just celebrities and stuff. No, you're not! She pulls her hand away from the screen. And it's got all these like math symbols and cosines and yeah. And she's like, you're studying again! Did you even apply to that college like I told you to? Well, Mom, I'm going to. You told me that yesterday. Boo! She breaks into tears. And Greg's like, that's it, Mom. I gotta go for a walk. You're harshing my mellow. And as he's walking out, he's like, his mom's like, wait, what? You're gonna want to take your weed with you. Here it is. Thanks, Mom. Here's the soda. Thank you. And a sandwich. Thank you. So then Greg goes out of the house with his sandwich and his soda in a nice paper bag that his mom gave him. And his weed, which he has, he's already rolled some joints ahead of time and he's put them in his empty cigarette box that he has for that purpose. He doesn't actually smoke himself cigarettes, but he keeps a cigarette box around for transporting joints, you know. So he goes off to walk around the city and just, it's like he lives kind of in this, not a small town, but it's kind of a sprawling place with some neighborhoods and some industrial areas and then some farms, and so it's like he just sort of walks towards the hills and enters into this kind of part that's outside of town where it's more wildernessy, you know. And he sits down on this big rock and he goes, geez, what am I gonna do? Mom's always up my ass about applying to college. It's like I don't even want to because, well, I should, but it's like, God, then I have to take all those classes for like years. It's going to be torture. Now it's all online. It's like there's not even going to be any sort of go off to a place kind of adventure thing or anything. It's just going to be super lame now. I don't even really want to do it because why? Like, what am I going to get a degree in anyway? But then again, what if I did get a degree? What if I got a degree in computer science and I got hired by a tech company and got paid a lot of money? But then I have a fucking job that I have to go to all the time and work at all the time. Why can't I just stay in my room at my mom's house and look at the internet all day for the rest of my life? Just at that moment, from behind a saguaro cactus, steps a young lady who's approximately Greg's age, and her name is Peg. And he knows this because she has it embroidered on her sweater. And she has a sweater that is not long sleeves. It's like a sweater vest. And underneath that she's got a long sleeve shirt. And he notes that this combination of long sleeve shirt and sweater vest, particularly because, of course, she's a bearer of heaping bounty, shall we say. That's an expression that Greg had heard back at that Puritan day camp that he attended when he was younger. The counselors there referred to the large-breasted women in the community as bearers of heaping bounty. So, she has been behind the saguaro cactus, but he still wasn't quite sure how he hadn't noticed her. but he blinked and was like, wow, this really beautiful young woman here, a large-breasted woman with peg stretched out across her bosom, embroidered on her sweater, wearing a short skirt and knee-length socks, along with those black kind of shoes that have a strap on the top of them. And she was standing kind of pigeon-toed, with her hands in front of her, all like bashful, like, and blushing and looking at him. And he realized this moment, Greg did, that he had been speaking aloud. And, he hadn't been speaking very loud, but he hadn't exactly been mumbling either. And she had probably heard all of his musings about college and mom and everything. And he started feeling a little bit defensive, maybe, because he didn't think it necessarily made him look that good. But he just, all he could think to say was, where did you come from? How could you have just appeared right there? Where were you? And she said, I was behind the cactus. And he said, well, why didn't I see your arms? And she said, because I had them posed like the cactus arms behind them. And he says, oh, I see. That's pretty tricky. She says, yes, it was convenient that the arms of the cactus happened to be where my arms were in relation to my body, were also where the arms of the cactus were in relation to its body, so it was easy for me to hide behind it in that fashion. And he says, well, that explains it, I guess, but there's one thing it doesn't explain. She said, well, what's that? What doesn't it explain? He says, well, why were you hiding behind the cactus? She said, well, because when properly hidden behind a cactus, one is less likely to be subject to predation. And Greg thought about this for a second and said, well, that's true, but are you worried about being preyed upon? As a general rule, or what? Well, no, not as a general rule. So, just here in this park? Well, there are predators in this park, Like what? Well, there are Bengal tigers in the park. There are not Bengal tigers in this park. Yes, there are. I've seen them myself. Look, you've heard stories, right, Greg? What stories? You know what I'm talking about. The spooky monster of the park. You know, the nature reserve area that we're in right here. What's it called again? Greg looks, can't remember either, and he goes and looks at the sign. Oh, it's called Hobb County Wilderness Recreation Area. All right, that's right. Hobb County Wilderness Recreation Area. You know the old stories they've said about this place, right? Well, you have, haven't you? Well, yeah, I know. The monster of Hobb County, they call him. The Mauler of Hobb County Wilderness Recreation Area. The names are endless. The nicknames they have for this purported mythical creature that shows up every once in a while to just kill random tourists or something. They find a body a year later and nobody can explain it or something. Yeah, well, I can explain it. This is an area where there's lots of crevices. It's very easy to not see one because they tend to be covered over with ivy. This is an area we're in here right now, which is littered with ivy-covered crevices. It's very easy to think that these people who disappear, the reason they disappear is because they've not been careful while walking around, and they've stepped on what appears to be solid ground covered by ivy, only to discover that it's a crevice, and they fall to their death, and that explains it probably. Well, you might think that. You might think that. And that might account for some of the deaths. But I'm not lying to you when I tell you I've seen a thing called tiger around here. Okay, well, I mean, it's hard to believe. Are you saying I'm a liar? Look, lady, I don't even know your name. Yes, you do. Well, okay, I do. I guess your name is Peg. See, you know my name. Okay, well, I didn't really know your name was Peg. I just guessed it was because it was embroidered on your sweater. And how did you know that? Well, because I looked at your sweater. You looked at my what? Your sweater. Which is where? On your chest. So you looked at my chest, huh? Well, that's where your sweater is. That's also where my breasts are, mister. And you should not be looking at those. Well, why are you wearing a sweater with Peg all stretched out on your chest in letters if you don't want people to see it? I don't want you to see it. Well, how was I supposed to know that? Well, I didn't know that myself until right now. Well, why don't you want me to see it? Because you've got a disagreeable look to you. I do not have a disagreeable look. You just disagreed right there again. Okay, can we backtrack a second here, Peg? Since you know my name, perhaps you should introduce yourself to me. I don't even know what your name is. I bet something awful like Bruce or Jewel or something. No, it's Greg. Greg? Yes. But my name's Peg. I know. My names can't rhyme. Why not? Because then when I tell this story, I'll say, I met this douchebag and blah, blah, blah. I have to tell them your name's Greg. They're going to be like, you mean your names were Greg and Peg? It's going to distract them from the point. Wait, why are you going to tell the story that I'm being a douchebag? What did I do here? You stared at my breasts. I did not stare at them. I just noted that your name was Peg. Well, looking at my sweater, which is on my chest, which is where my breasts are. But I wasn't looking at your breasts. Uh-huh. Are you telling me you did not notice these bodacious tatas? And at that point, she pokes each one of them. She pushes it in, like, pushes the nipple in, so it goes, plow. And then she does the other one, plow. And he's like, okay, fine. You got me. I was looking at your tits. See? Yeah, all right. It's okay. You can look at my tits now. Really? No, not now. I'm saying now it's okay if you happen to glance at them. Don't be all lecherous and just spend all day staring at my titties. Like, I won't. I'm not. I didn't even in the first place. Okay. Now, what have we learned here today? What else is great? I mean, well, we've learned a variety of things. I've learned that sometimes when talking to yourself on a rock in the Hobb County Wilderness Recreation Area, beautiful young women emerge mysteriously from behind saguaro cactuses. Okay, well, I think that's probably a pretty poor general rule to deduce from this instance. I think you're extrapolating far too enthusiastically from one occasion. All right, fine. Well, what else did I learn? Don't stare at your tits? No, that's not what I said. I said now it's okay to look at them. Yes, don't stare at them unless it's in a different circumstance than if I want you to. Well, how am I supposed to know if that's the case? Just shh. Well, shh. Listen, you've already sexually harassed me. Don't push it, mister. How did I say? Yeah. Well, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? It means you better watch it. You're on thin ice, mister. Stop talking about my breasts. You're the one talking about your breasts. And now you are again talking about my breasts. Okay, fine. Let's talk about something else. Okay, good. So, why do you think that the Bengal tiger just won't go around the cactus to get you? Well, Bengal tigers are colorblind. That's why. How is that relevant to the cactus and the hiding? Well, because cactuses are colorful, and therefore Bengal tigers can't see them. Wouldn't that just mean they're terrible things to hide behind? No. They can't see them. That doesn't mean they're transparent. Well, then, how does the Bengal tiger perceive a cactus? Just as the same as the background. Well, but why do they perceive the background if there was the background and nothing but cactuses? Then they just perceive a blank universe. See, are you saying Bengal tigers are colorblind? But are they colorblind to the color green? No, wow, they're colorblind to cactuses. But cactus isn't a color. Precisely. Okay. Listen, lady, my name is Peg, not Lady. Sorry, Peg. From now on, you and I are best pals, okay? What? Wait, hold on. I was just about to sort of segue into shh. What? Shh. What? I think I hear a Bengal tiger nearby. Really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Do you hear that? That is was that rustling? It was rustling. Quick! Come over here behind the cactus. Greg and Meg. Go behind this roaring cactus. Meg says, you've got to put your arms like the arms of the cactus so that you're hidden behind it. And Greg does, and he's like pressed really close up against her too, like, his front to her back, and she's right up against the cactus. And he's just like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. This woman is insane. Why am I going along with this? But then, lo and behold, he sees in front of them both a fully grown Bengal tiger walk out from behind some picnic benches that are over there. He goes, oh my god, it's a Bengal tiger, we gotta run. She goes, no, do you have a death wish? We have to stay perfectly still behind the cactus so it won't see us. And he said, won't he hear us or smell us? And she says, the cactus masks the smell, but if you keep talking, you'll hear, so shh. And so Greg is very quiet, and his heart is pounding, and he can feel, as he pressed up against her warm body, her heart pounding in her chest as well, but through her back, not through her front. If she were turned to face him, he wouldn't be able to feel her heart because her tits are too big. Anyway, it's not like that though. She's turned the other way, and he feels her heart pounding, his heart pounding, and he's being very silent. and the Bengal tiger walks right towards him, right towards the cactus, and he's about to just run, but she reaches, she turns her hand around a little bit, and she just grabs part of his arm, and just sort of mouths something at him, which he assumes, mouths it kind of at the cactus, but he assumes she's saying, like, don't you move. And the Bengal tiger walks right up to the cactus, and smells and looks, and then just turns around and walks away. And Greg and Peg sink to the ground with a big sigh after they give it a good 10 minutes to make sure the tiger's really gone. And they watch it walk quite a distance away, up this hill, over the hill, and they go, okay, I guess we're safe. Whew! Wow, says Greg, I can't believe there really are Bengal tigers here. And she said, so what have you learned today? Okay, I get it. What I've learned today is there are Bengal tigers here at Hobb County Wilderness Recreation Area, and that they in fact cannot see cactuses. So, learn something new every day. At that, they high-fived each other and exchanged phone numbers. Later on, they'd end up having sexual intercourse, but that's not part of this story. The end. Well, that's my story. No, I'm not drunk. I'm telling my bedtime story. Good night, everybody.